Hi all, it's Eddie from Wheelie Tropicals. If you're a returning viewer, thanks again for tuning in and keeping this dream of being a YouTuber alive. Appreciate every single one of you that watches the videos, especially if you make it to the end. Really do appreciate you. If you're new to my channel, what I'm doing today is I'm going to be growing, I think 4 different plants from seed. They're all tropical plants. As well, what to expect from the channel is I do garden tours from a tropical garden, give you tips and tricks whether you're new or old to the game. And then I'm trying to create like a friendly little community where we can all share best practice and things like that as well. Without further waffle, first plant I've got for you today is going to, as always, excuse the pronunciation, right? So these are called Celosia Flamingo Feathers. Flamingo Feather. These are beautiful. I'll put a image up there. Really nice looking plant, to be fair. Nice pink colour as well. So kind of like an unusual colour for the garden. What you would traditionally do with these ones, and these are, you can grow these like as annual plants or whatever, is you can time these similar to dahlias, where you would time them about 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost and then transition from your windowsill greenhouse straight out into the garden. Without that, because of the time of year and the weather and stuff, some of these plants now that are planted after that point can still motor on and quite often beat the plants that were stunted earlier in the year, had a hot spell, cold spell, hot spell, cold spell, you know, sat in water for a long time. So doing them now when the conditions is right, and although sometimes feels late, these actually can motor on and kind of make it as well as something that you'd sown earlier in the year. These are native to Asia and parts of Africa. The height is 60 to 90 centimeters, so a nice sized plant, and nothing too crazy on that one. These traditionally flower in summer through to autumn. They're great for cut flowers as well. I know a lot of people use these in different type of decorations. Even when they're dried out, they look really nice as well. These don't like being too wet, so let these dry out in between waterings. They're from that type of environment like Africa. They're not going to get too waterlogged in the vast majority of those places. They're like arid kind of conditions, so that's, you've got to mimic where you can, where the plants are native to. These ones are dead simple, and I'll show you the seeds now. They're little dinky, almost like poppy kind of size seeds. When you get seeds this size, you don't want to bury these deep. So these are surface sown, so about as easy a seed as you can germinate. So what we're trying to mimic is if the plant was open now, the seed went through its normal phase through the flower, cracked open and fell to the floor, they would land on wherever it was in your garden and try and take root from there. So when we've got a seed tray, so I'll grab or if you want to use like a little pot, we're going to fill the compost up to around about 80%. Never fill it to the top, because when you water it, will just come over the sides and it will never actually water down anyway, as I've said in previous videos. But on the inside, there's a couple of ridges. I wouldn't go past the first ridge on there. Then what you would do is firm down the compost and give it a light mist. Last thing you want to do is mist it once the seeds are actually in there, because then what they'll do is they'll tend to pick up all the water and go to the lowest point and all kind of congregate in one area. So if you moist it first, when you put them down, they'll stick to where they are. And just keep these lightly misted. These don't want to be waterlogged, the seeds, because they'll just rot off in next to no time. Once they've germinated and they go through, you get what they call cotyledon. So it's the first seed leaf that comes out. Will just like a generic seed leaf. It won't necessarily resemble anything like what the next set of leaves will look like, or what the plant on the packet will look like. So ignore the first leaf that comes out, the first set. When you get the first set of true leaves, you need 2 sets of leaves, and then these can be transplanted. You can leave them a bit more if you don't put so many in the same container, just so they don't suffer as much shock from being dug up and put into the ground. But yeah, try and leave them till there's about 2 sets on there. To get these to germinate, the ideal temperature range is between 21 and 24 C and 70 to 75 Fahrenheit. So at this time of year, we're not going to struggle with that. You can put them on almost anywhere and you'll get away with that. You can cover these with a dome. If I show you what those look like, I know people that have watched this channel before probably sick of these domes, but they are sensational. So plant pot, little dome, as you can see there, full of all the moisture. So that plant's losing less and less. I'm going to water it as often. So I'm all for a bit of lazy gardening. If a little bit of tech like that can help me out, then why not? Also, if you're going away for the weekend or something, those will dry out in the greenhouse without that dome on. So put a dome on it, piece of plastic, perspex, it could be wrapped in cling film just for a little bit. As soon as you see green shooting out of it, take that off, because otherwise they can get a thing called damping off, and they can die from. They need a bit of airflow once they get going, but they need the humidity in order to pop in the first place. The interesting factors, I always try and give you an interesting fact, whether or not you guys find them interesting or not. Might be a completely separate thing. Let me know in the comments if you like the interesting facts, or if you want me to just crack on and save 30 seconds of your life per video. The name Celosia comes from the Greek word kilos, which means burned, referring to the flower's flame-like appearance. And I had to write that down because there was no way I was remembering any of that. So yeah, so that's the interesting fact for this one. So beautiful plant. I put up some images on there. Somewhat unusual as well. I've not seen these before in people's gardens and things like that as well. So it's nice to kind of grow something rare as well as something that you can use in the house as well. So on to seed number 2. Right, so this one is an absolute treat. This is one where I put 2 seed packets in last year. They grew. I listed them on Facebook and they were sold out immediately. 20 plants gone because everybody wants them. So if you're growing along to run like a little seed hustle, seed business, so if you're trying to take it a bit more serious like myself and actually grow it as an actual business, then these are ideal because they grow really quickly from seeds and they're very, very sought after. So I'll end the mystery and let you know what they are. They're Paulownia, Tomentosa. So these things they grow so quickly. They're wicked for like if kids, when you want to get kids into growing things other than sunflowers, that because they need to see something visual. Same as I do, to be honest with you. I don't want to see a seed taking year on year on year to get anywhere because it's boring. I want things to be done yesterday. As most of us gardeners are impatient, I want things huge just so we can go in my jungle garden. I don't want it to take years to get there. So these are really good because you can actually almost see these things growing. These come from central and western China. The name, you can also, when you search these online, can also be found for foxglove tree due to the purple flowers. I've never seen them actually flowering, but when you search for these, all you'll see is the images of the purple flowers. Most people would grow these though for the foliage, just so for the leaves. So I know if you leave them for a couple of years and then do a process called pollarding, which is cutting them quite harshly back to the ground almost, or leaving it about a foot off the ground, when they shoot back, the leaves become bigger, and that's tend to be what people grow these for. I don't know if many people are growing these for the flowers. They might do, but I think it's for the foliage in the vast majority of cases. But easy to sell, these plants, and also fit in anywhere. They're like full sun, moderate watering, so easy. They don't want to be soaked. They're not bamboo, things like that. So just your normal, typical garden season, I'm sure will be absolutely fine for these. These so they can grow about 2 meters in a single season, so 6 foot in a single season, which don't sound much, but the first season you kind of get into a nice size. Second season it's 12 foot, so they can quickly, easily fly from there, and that's why I think people cut them back as well. The size of that I'm not entirely sure about. I got that information from online because, like I say, I sold mine before. They've probably got around to about 1 foot in size. So let me know if you've got any experience with the size on that. These germinate between 18 and 24. You'll find a lot of the seeds sit in that kind of range, or 64 to 75 Fahrenheit. 2 or 3 weeks is all we got to wait for these, and sometimes they can pop a lot quicker than that. You can plant outside from any time from now, so the last frost has gone. You have to be in a savage area now in the UK, so we'll still be getting frost now. Especially being in mid-June or towards the end of June. Again, with these ones, I'm spoiling you. Surface sow again, so we ain't covering any of these, so we don't need to figure out like soil depths or using a finger or how far do I put these in on the top. So put your compost in, put all your normal mixing like your perlite and all that jazz, and then just put them on the top. Do not cover these. The reason they don't need to be covered is a lot of them need light to germinate as well. So just again, put them on the top. That's that. If you got a dome, that's wicked, and as I said before, always remove the dome as soon as you see the ones pop in, because otherwise what will happen is the ones that are popped will die off, and then you might end up with nothing, or you end up with sporadic growth from that particular point. The other thing is you can put these under a grow light, but avoid direct sunlight when they're first starting, because they'll get frazzled. So if you've got like a similar setup to myself, I've got a couple of grow lights behind me, and I use those for everything. You can also put them, if you get them in a greenhouse and they're just not being directly baked from where the glass is, if you can pull them a little bit back from where the glass is. Above me here, this thing is called shade netting. that underneath that, all of my plants here are thriving. Nothing's getting toasted. Nothing's getting that like magnification of the light and frying all of my stuff. So just use something like that. With this one, you got to be careful. So I know some people watch this from America, and that's the other thing I'd like to say as well. Just comment where you're watching this from in the world, because I'd be really interested to see. I get some stats that it just kind of says, oh, Germany, all this, that, and the other, but I'd be really interested to see where in the world people are watching my videos from. It says in parts of America, i.e. the Southwest, this is considered an invasive species due to prolific seed production and just how well these things survive. So you've got to be careful in parts of like Southwest America, but we can get away with it here, so that's absolutely ideal. And as I mentioned before, pollard these to get the bigger leaves. Most people recommend February to March. I know some people will argue and say do it autumn. From personal experience, and I'm not with these, but just anything, I don't want anything going into a wet season, a cold season with wounds on it. So at least in spring, where you got that wind and the heat and stuff, a lot of these wounds where you're cutting things back will dry off quicker. So my personal experience, I'd be doing it more in a warmer season, like so before they're in active growth, right at the start of the year. I would not be sending them into autumn, winter, a wet season with a wound on, because it might take a lot longer to dry out. Well, it will do. And there's more likelihood that you're going to get some type of infection or some type of issue with that. Yes, you can probably cover it with a bucket and other things, but I'm just saying from personal opinion, I would do it earlier in the season. If you've got different methods that work for you, crack on with those. That's absolutely fine. I'm not here to convert anybody. It's just talking to you from my own personal experience. Without further ado, I'll get on to seed 3. That's enough waffle. Right, seed number 3. Really excited about these ones. These really, really beautiful plants. Got really nice flowers and stuff on them. Cool little seeds, like an unusual kind of sandy kind of colour on them. What these are is Globba, and then what they're called, schomburgkii, something like that. Like I say, excuse the pronunciation. The otherwise searched for name is called Dancing Girl Ginger, apparently because of the flowers are so unusual. These are native to Asia, Thailand, and parts of Malaysia. As you're going to expect with those, they thrive in warm, humid, shaded environments. A lot of these are grown, these plants, under canopy. So when you think of those areas, you think, oh, the full sun. Things are like monsteras and stuff very rarely see full sun because there's just so much stuff above them, and these plants are growing at a lower level. So that's the kind of conditions that they like. So it's nice for like a little shaded area in your garden, which we always struggle for. Like, yeah, you can put hostas and ferns in, but what else? So these are an ideal thing for that. They like free draining soil. There's not much that doesn't like free draining soil, to be fair. Add perlite, which we always do. And the temperature to germinate again is 24 to 28 C or 75 to 82 Fahrenheit. And again, as I've just said, put a dome over the top of all of these. These are not full sun straight away. These are more of an indirect one. So as I said, just pull it back from the greenhouse window, put it beneath the bench, things like that, just to get it away from being absolutely baked on there. They germinate typically in about 4 to 8 weeks. They can be sporadic though. So what that means is if you see 1 or 2 pop, and say it says on the packet that we've got 10 seeds, and you see 3 or 4 of those pop up and you don't see anything for a week, don't dash those away and think, right, I only got 4. My germination rate was 40%. It was terrible. The seeds are garbage, blah, blah, blah. What it means is take those 4 out and just leave the others to crack on, because you might find in a month's time, 2 months' time, that the rest of those will start popping. So just don't give up on these particular seeds. I'm not saying hold them on for 10 years and then see what happens at that particular point, but give these time, because they're not all going to germinate like a lot of cannas all exactly at the same time. So give these a chance, okay? Transplanting again when there's 2 to 3 leaves. Never do it before that, because you just need them to get a little bit more established before you start holding them. The stem's going to be really weak, and so are the roots. Again, I've had to write this interesting fact down because it was just too much for me to remember. It's named after a 19th century German botanist, Sir Heinrich Schomburg. So again, a lot of these plants are as well. I suppose if you're the one doing the work, finding these plants and discovering them, the first thing you're going to do when you can name the species is name it after yourself. So that's where the second part of the name comes from on that one. Like I said, I'll put some information on the screen, like the photographs and stuff on it, but these are, I'm really looking forward to kind of growing these ones. And for this one, apologies, I'm trying to race there. My timers keep going off to tell me I need to start working about 10 minutes. Every time I get the timer pops up, it stops the recording on here. This one I am absolutely buzzing about, and I've got to say thanks to Tim over at Jungle Seeds. I've been struggling for growing bananas for such a long time. Followed the method with the day and night cycles with heat mats, Wi-Fi plugs, and just everything. I had a couple of successes with like Musa Cheesmanii, just 1 out of 3 packets. So I was almost done. So I reached out to him and said, have you got any advice on this one? So we're going to do a banana special, I think maybe next episode afterwards, because we've cracked it with Tim's advice. So I'm going to show you the plant, and then I'm going to show you something that's germinated, which I can't be happier with the guy. Musa Cheesmanii, right? And then what we're going to do is I'm going to pull the camera off and I'm going to show you one that's germinated. I'll explain the method, and I'm going to put you back up on here in 1 second. So what we got here is the baggy method. Soak those in water for 2 days. Then all I've done, and Tim said I put too much compost in this one, so when you can see from the side, it's quite a bit. We don't need that much. But as I've just seen, there's one at the top, one on the left, and I've just seen a new one down at the bottom. So these, all we've got to do, these are dead simple, is we're going to chuck a load of compost and perlite in a bag. We're going to chuck these seeds in, and we're going to put it just in the full sun in the greenhouse and forget about it. So that method is fantastic. I am absolutely buzzing with that. It's the type of environment as well. Like I think like with growing and certain things like that, you get some that are like, will tell you everything. You get some that'll tell you absolutely nothing at all because it's their trade secrets. So I do honestly appreciate Jungle Seeds letting me in on that, so I can let you in on that as well. Like I said, they're running a 3 for 2 as well at the moment on the banana plants. So if you can race ahead of time, I'm going to be doing the Musa seeds, not the Enseti. I'm doing the Musa seeds, the same method, and I'm going to pick some random ones off their website. So if you want to get 3 for 2, crack on it now. You don't need any referral link from me. You don't need to mention my business whatsoever. Just go on there, just order the normal seeds, and you can grow along with me. We're going to use the same method with all of them, so it's regardless of what ones you pick. And I'm probably going to get 6 packs, something like that. And I've only paid for 4. Everyone's a winner. So without further ado, I'm going to get back to Cheesmanii, whatever you want to call it. Southeast Asia, right? It's also known as Cheesman's banana. And again, a very similar process in my interesting fact as to why. 27 to 30 degrees C or 80 to 86 Fahrenheit. But we're using the baggy method as I've just shown you. So I've already shown you the process of what we're going to do. This is just a bit of waffle as to a little bit of interesting information. 3 to 12 weeks to germinate. Those ones were less than that. Again, can be erratic. I did get one little dinky thing popped up. I panicked. I potted it on. I should have just left it, but it was like separate anyway, so I haven't disturbed it in any way. Again, so when they're erratic, just note that on that one there was 10 seeds in that packet. I'm just going to leave them. It's taking up what a sandwich pack in a whole greenhouse. I'm not concerned. I'd rather leave it on the off chance that something else pops in there as well. Transplant after the first full leaf appears. So after you get the first full banana roller, and let's pretend this is a banana, it's a canna. But once you get your first like little roller pop out, then you can transplant those on. Don't leave them in there for ages because they'll all get entangled and stuff like that, and then you're going to have a more difficult chance. Always hold them by the leaf as well. Never hold them by the stem when you're doing it, because if you rip the leaf off, that's not a problem. If you rip the stem off, you're going to put that plant back. It might even die back at this early stage. Indirect or dappled shade for germination, it's saying, but I'll put one in full sun, and they're absolutely baked there. They're absolutely fine, but I'll put a bit of compost in, jiggled the bag all around, kept it moist. Don't keep it soaking wet, so you don't want to be able to wring it out and there's water coming through it, but they can't be bone dry either. Just make sure the seeds are moist. So I kind of did it and mashed it all up and then wet it again. And I've not had to do it again since. Tim said that he does this about once a week, so it depends on your area, the conditions and stuff like that. Just make sure they're not drying out. It said advises with these ones, like unlike the Enseti, that these just like these need like a day and night cycle. So the Musa seeds are easy because they can just go day, night, day, night, day, night. The Enseti bananas, they need the constant temperature. So that's when you need like the heat mat and stuff like that, because it is going to drop regardless of, even if it's inside your house, it will change from day and night. The interesting fact with this one, again, it's named after another botanist. This was called Ernst Clement Cheesman, hence the Cheesmanii banana on that one. So with all of that said, I'm going to quickly whip round now and do a germination update because I've got loads popping in here at the moment. I've tried to like arrange things in a certain way so we can kind of keep track on it. And I have got a list of what we've sown so far, but I'm going to do a full germination update. So you can see how successful this has been, whether or not to follow my advice or not, or if you've got any other methods, that's absolutely fine. I will jump onto that in a second, but consider subscribing if this is your bag. Just click the subscribe button, it don't cost any money, and then it'll help me onto my quest to 1,000. If it's not your bag, that's fine. I just appreciate someone giving me an opportunity to listen to me waffle anyway, but that's fine. It's probably not for everybody. There we go, right with my perfect little brand in there. So what we did on the first episode was these three. We pull a couple out. I've got all the cannons are there, just so I'll just pick one at random, okay? So very first episode that we did was Cannas, Euphorbia, which is looking gorgeous, really leggy, but gorgeous, and Ricinus, and that's the best Ricinus one that I've grown. Full transparency on that one, I did kill 7 out of 10 through transplanting them. So there's a couple here that don't look as good, so I'm not going to hide it from you. I mean, that these will be fine, but I'm not going to hide the truth from you. They don't all look like that. But that was just me messing about. I think I just rushed when I was doing that. So that's episode 1. We had full germination. The Euphorbia, I think a lot of them died off. I keep mine in my greenhouse, you see, so they do get really roasted. And it's typically every time that I kind of go away for a weekend or something like that, we have a heat wave. I have got things on Wi-Fi plugs, so I can turn on the fans remotely and stuff like that, but I'm not leaving the greenhouse completely open. I've got thousands of pounds worth of equipment in here, so sometimes, unfortunately, you lose things when you're trying to live at the same time, and that's fine. That's why you get so many seeds. You don't get one in a pack, do you? So you kind of got to live with that. But I thought I'd show you some fails on here just to normalise the fact that you're not going to get 100% success out of all of these things. It just doesn't happen. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just a bit more of a calamity than everybody else. Episode 2, we did the Musa. Did 2 Musa plants, and I've just shown you. We've got 3 in the one bag, and there's 1 banana in the other plant. In fact, no, 4 in one and 1 in the other. So those ones have already just been shown. And then the Mani Hots. The Mani Hots are notoriously difficult, take a long time to do. Hence why I did it so early on in the series, on the off chance that I could get one. So that's fine. Episode 3, and I'd like your advice on this one as well, because like I say, I don't profess to know everything at all. I know a small proportion. I've only been doing it for a couple of years. So I did Brugmansia. Let me show you the other ones as well, but I want some bit of Brugmansia advice. So what I did was I sowed these little Brugmansia, and every time they're popping up, and I've spoke to Tropical Seeds. It's nothing to do with them. It's, I think, probably the mix that I've used. Sometimes the plants really struggle to get out of the seed coat, and they kind of snap themselves. And I know you get a lot of that with the chili seeds, where the helmet, as they call it, helmet head, the seed coat actually doesn't ever go, and they die back. But anyone know why, for example, the Brugmansia would be germinating with just a stem, no true leaves on them, no like cotyledons on them at all, and then obviously they're dying back, so that they've not got any head on them? It could be maybe I've overwatered something. Any advice on that, I'd be more than grateful. And then let me get onto something that I was more successful with growing, which is papaya and tree dahlia. So these ones, I love these. They look absolutely fantastic. These are papaya. Both of those ones. We've got Red Lady in that one. And then what was the other one called? Sunrise. Yeah, Sunrise. And great shout on that one as well, to get that one. This one, this tree dahlia, is quite large. I'll move out of the way of that, because anytime I go near the artificial light, it goes wild. There's my only Mani Hot I've ever successfully grown from seed, but my God, it's worth it when you get one. And that's the other tree dahlia down there. So they're motoring on for, I don't know what, a month or so. Decent size, good foot tall on that one. Let's look at our list again. So we had palm grass, persicaria, and pseudopanax. I know somebody messaged me to say how am I getting on with my pseudopanax. Not terribly well at the moment. There's nothing in there, and I've got nothing in my Soteria palmifolia either. But I know a couple of you have had that. And there's the Mani Hot. Still trying. But again, just noticed some growth on another one, which I've not seen yet. So we'll move on to that update. Let me know as well if you've beaten me on any of these, because yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you've got. It's not all about what I've got. The persicaria I have got. So let me find the Persicaria. I did move that the other day. There's the Persicaria. There's the Virginata. Variegated, you can see from the leaves and getting focus. Really good success rate with those. There's about 4 or 5 plants in there, which I'm really happy about. They're going to look fantastic in the garden. So this one we had Ravenella, Montanoa, and Melianthus. The Melianthus are doing fantastic in there. 2 really strong plants. The Montanoa is about 5 or 6 plants in there. The Ravenella I've moved out of here to get it a bit more sun, get it a bit more heat, but I've had nothing in that one yet. But again, for the Traveller's Palm, I wasn't expecting anything. This one is a fantastic one. So put on there Schizoliobium, Caesalpinia, and Aracema. So that one, there's no one convinced me that that isn't something underneath the soil, which has just started to pop. See if I can move it. See if it is something, or if it's just me. It's got to be something, surely. Ah, it is. Underneath there. You can see right there. That feels rock hard as well. So I'm going to kind of break the top of that up a little bit. Make it a bit easier for them to get through. But there we go. We've got the very first one of those. And I only sowed those 5th of June. So hardly any time at all. This one, you're seeing it as new as I am, as I was just looking through the Aracema, where if I can find that. I'll show you that the Montanoa and all that are in there. And if I can have a look to find, oh there, Aracema, consanguineum. There you go. I can see 2, 3, 4 in that one. So full success with that particular episode. Buzzing about that. Really interested about those ones. Just I forgot the one of the most interesting ones in there that's really grown well. Is this Caesalpinia Gillespie. Look how big that is from seed. It's only been sown recently. This is what I was referring to as the cotyledons, as you can see down here. Very plain Jane looking oval leaves, and then the next set look exactly like, kind of looks like a bit like Mimosa pudica, if you know what that is, the touch me not plant, but very interesting plant on there. Buzzing at what we've done so far. Saved a fortune, and buying from the shop as well. Obviously the Leonotis I've only just done. The other 2 bananas have only been in there for a couple of days, and things like that. I'm expecting a bit more from these. These are all collocations that I've done and some of the bits that I've not done. There's the Musa Cheesmanii. Shouldn't have potted it up yet. It's a bit early for that, but it's fine. So actually on the episodes that we've done so far, quite a lot of green that we've grown from seed there. I'm absolutely buzzing. There's loads of other bits that I've grown from up myself before I started filming these all around the greenhouse, like chili plants and loads of other bits and bobs. But an awful lot of things that we've gone through there. But I'm glad to see that there's some success on there. There's an awful lot of pressure, I feel like, on myself. Granted, I've put all that pressure on myself, but I can't be filming these videos and having nothing germinate, because what would be the point in following any of my advice, you know? So kind of glad everything's popping and stuff on there, that the methods are working. But please put in the comments, as I said earlier, where you're watching in the world. I'd be really interested to know that, whether it's UK or abroad or whatnot. And then also any of these things that have been a success to you, the more comments and stuff on there, the more it'll push to other people. It'll really help my channel. Appreciate anybody that's made it through my waffling until the end. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching. And as I said before, I'd always be fully transparent with my wins, losses and fails. Really gutted to announce, to be fair with this one of the stars of the channel, one that everybody loved, Masanga, does not look a happy bunny at all. Look at the state of that. That one may survive, but it's so limp and we're looking fantastic. I'm going to order some more seed from Jungle Seed, and I'm just going to do it again. Wonder whether it was over watering. Just once I didn't pick the pot up and just check the weight on it. I didn't put my finger in it. I didn't check anything at all. I just blindly added water when it probably really wasn't necessary. The seeds are so small on that. But if anyone's got any prayers to give, try and say a prayer for these Masanga. If I can pull these back, yeah, I might give one away, to be fair, like a little competition or something. But let's see what's what with that one. But like I say, you can't win them all. But to be fair, of a lot of the things that I've sown, not all the things, a lot of the things I've sown, those were one of the ones that I was going to hope that was going to make it all the way through. But back to the drawing board. I'm not going to let it destroy my spirit. I'm going to order some more seeds and I'm just going to take better care of it next time. Every one of these is a lesson, and that's the way that I look at it, because otherwise you'll be sat there in floods of tears every week losing plants and stuff. So when you've got a lot of things like this, I've got 2 greenhouses I run, it's hard to keep everything in check, but gutted it was a Masanga, to be fair.